Hey everybody, it's me, Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. And it's Thursday, May 31st, 2018. And I'm here with this week's angel guidance readings by astrological sign. If you'd like to learn more about me and my services or to book a private session, please feel free to go to my website at www.terihunter.com. That's TERIHUNTER.com. You can also feel free to text me or call me. The information is below. Okay, so we're going to start with Aries. We're going to do a 4-card spread. The first card, or the first angel, is going to represent the foundational position, what you're sitting on for this week. The second card is going to represent your opportunity and or your obstacle. One coin, two sides. Every opportunity has an inherent obstacle, and every obstacle has an inherent opportunity. The third card is going to represent the angel's advice for getting around the obstacle or taking advantage of the opportunity. And the final card is going to represent the potential outcome or energetic dynamics at the end of the week. So for Aries, our first angel is Rosetta. The second angel is Fiona. The third is Bethany. And the final card is Omega. So when I'm talking to a collective, like I am when I do these videos, the cards that represent children, Rosetta represents having a way with children, parenting, teaching, guiding children in some way. But when I'm talking to a collective, like I am with Aries, this is really more the inner child and addressing that inner child, sort of having the adult in you step aside and say to yourself, if I was looking at my child, how would I allow and afford them for their dreams, their wants, their desires, the things they want to experience in this world? How would I foster that, nurture that, and encourage that? And that's for the child within you. Those are the deeper things that you want for yourself. In our opportunity, our obstacle is we have Fiona. Fiona is an angel that says, now that you've asked God and the angels for advice, be open to receiving their guidance. And Bethany is in the angel's advice, talking about taking care of yourself. I really think that this is not about physical, but the bigger things. You know, I say this often, but children have wonderful imaginations and dream time. And I don't mean that sleep time. I mean that, like, you know, walking around the market in their Spider-Man costume or their ballerina outfit and believing in magic and the privilege of getting drunk on laughter. And I think that that's part of what Rosetta is asking you to do, Aries, is to allow yourself sort of a childlike view walking through this week, you know, sort of being silly and fun. Omega's here. Victory's coming. I feel like Aries has been kind of going through a bit of a tense time, and I'm going to say this: Mars is going to go retrograde in a couple of weeks, and the energies as the planet of war goes retrograde can get a little challenging, and we may find Aries has a tendency to want to charge ahead, and this may be a time of really mindfully taking our steps. And in order to balance what potential frustrations the adult in you may experience, it's about allowing the child to have a little bit of fun, play, laugh, be stupid. All right, let's go on to Taurus. My remedy for stress almost all the time is to be stupid. To laugh, to dance, to sing, to go to the park and swing on the swings, anything that kind of gets us in touch with a playful energy. Sometimes as grown-ups, you know, we'll go for a run to get off that stressful energy, and it's just too grown-up. It's too much work. We got to do something stupid, fun. All right, Taurus, here we go. Rosetta in the foundational position again. Grace and Antoinette is in the opportunity or the obstacle. Celeste is in the angel's advice, and then we have Caressa in the final position. Again, when I talk about a collective and I see the children card, I really think it's about having a childlike innocence. It's about believing in magic. It's about believing that the world is a good place, that it's supporting you, that you are safe as you move forward. Because Taurus, you know, Uranus, we've talked about this, has gone into your sign, and it can bring very disruptive unexpected changes. And even if you're expecting changes, there can be an unexpected dynamic on top of it. So it sort of couples it. Because Grace and Antoinette is here asking you to have compassion and to see things from another person's point of view. And I do believe that Spirit and the angels are asking you not only to have compassion for yourself as you process these changes, but to try to treat others the way, or have the type of dynamic that you're able to treat others the way you would like them to treat you, to have that compassion for them, to sort of lower your voice, maybe, just sort of try to take it down a notch and make things a little bit more, to be in this disruptive time, because I do think it's a disruptive time for you, to try to be the energy you would like others to be for you. I've got Celeste in the Angels Advice, and it talks about a move to a new home or a new place of employment. But when it's in the Angels Advice in comparison, coupled with Grace and Antoinette, I think it's really about shifting the way I'm thinking. It's really about, happiness is not something that is bestowed upon us. It is not something that just shows up. It is a point of view. And I think if you really think about it, the people who are the most materially, physically, meaning rich, having lots of material resources, oftentimes are very unhappy people, because the way that they process, they only have themselves to look into in some ways, their emotional bodies and their spiritual bodies, because all their material needs are met. So I guess what I'm trying to say, this is not to say anything bad about people who have material resources, it just can be more challenging sometimes for them to get past those emotional humps, because they do appear to have so much. So I want to say this, for Taurians in general, having compassion for yourself as you shift the way you're thinking to align more into a childlike dynamic that believes the world is a safe place, that the world is supporting you, because you're coming to the end of a life cycle, which is really the beginning of a new chapter in your lives. And it would be really sad if you just viewed that chapter as some sort of swirl down the drain versus an opportunity to go to new heights, to enjoy life more, to feel fuller in life. All right, let's go on to Gemini. What do the angels have to say for you this week? All right, the first card is Desiree. The second card is Isaiah. The third card is Archangel Michael. And the last card is Seraphina. Desiree is a card that is basically saying that conditions are not favorable right now for taking action, for moving forward, that they're to enjoy a bit of a pause, because there's something that is being worked out through spirit that you cannot affect in your physical way. So what I'm trying to say is that you can try to push and push and push for a change, and the dynamics may not be there because you've kind of got to wait for other things to come into play. So Isaiah is asking you in your opportunity or your obstacle to give birth to new ideas and new situations in your life. Meaning this, if Desiree is saying, conditions really aren't favorable right now, giving birth to a new idea is that because things aren't moving, instead of things tanking, instead of things swirling the drain, instead of things falling apart, maybe Spirit is actually opening things up for you, that they are taking care of some of those details and some of those kind of larger obstacles that you cannot. And as you give birth to that idea, Archangel Michael is saying, geez, sorry about the reflection, forget about it. All right, Archangel Michael is saying to really have the courage to believe that there are new things on the horizon. I've got Seraphina in the last position. She says that there's a happy change to your family coming. This change is not necessarily about a person, a place, or a thing, but I believe it's a collective, as a dynamic. When you give Desiree a little bit of room by not trying to take action, by not forcing the resolution to something right now, or trying to make something happen. I'm getting this very resistant energy for Gemini. It's like boom, 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 boom. And I want to say, whoa, maybe it's just sit back a little bit and kind of turn it over to Spirit. And I want to say this to you, Gemini. If you get stressed out about it and you're having trouble really seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, then thank God and the angels for giving you the eyes to see the situation from a new perspective. When we sometimes try to figure out how things are going to work out, it just sends us into this loop of the only thing we can contemplate is what we can see, and Spirit can see things from such a different dynamic. I'm starting to see things in my own life that I planted the seeds for 2 years ago. And when I did that, I didn't know how they would work out. I just knew how I wanted to feel once they worked out. And in hindsight, I'm starting to see how Spirit has been lining things up, and in a way that's way more divine than I could have ever anticipated or to make happen. So, conditions are not favorable for pushing forward. It's more about sitting back, looking at the bigger picture, and then telling Spirit how it feels when the dynamics are in balance for you, whether it be in a relationship, whether it be with your physical health, whether it be with your job, your career, or any dynamic within your life. Go to how it feels once the things you want are in play, and then thank Spirit for that. And do not plead with them. Don't say please, 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 because that is actually a resistant energy that's going to shut down what it is you want. It's almost as if you're saying you don't believe it can happen. Prove it to me. Spirit doesn't really respond in the way we want. It's almost a backfire there. Spirit responds to our affirmation, faithful confirmation of the experience that we want. All right, let's go on to Cancer. Excuse me. All right, my moon children. Let's see what Spirit has to say for you on this last day of May. First angel is Seraphina, the second is Rochelle, the third is Merlina, and the final card is Teresa. So I'm not going to try to pick up the cards anymore. The reflection's really weird. So Seraphina is a card that talks about a happy change to your family, and she's an angel that has her wings spread while holding a baby. When I look at a baby, I don't necessarily think of it as being a physical baby. I always think of it as being vulnerable to something that's precious to me, something I cherish, something that I find of great value. And for me, when I look at this spread right now, I really think that Spirit and God and the angels are asking Cancers as a whole to hold that cherished thought of the things that they want. Because Rochelle is in the second position, and she says, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. I don't really see that as money. I see Rochelle as talking about harmonious wealth. When I'm feeling harmonious wealth, I'm feeling balanced and thriving in all the areas of my body. My physical body, my mental body, my emotional body, my spiritual body, my family body, my work body, all the different facets that make up me. And I have Merlina in the Angel's Advice. And Merlina is a card of, she can talk about confusion and indecision and not quite knowing where to go and to do research. When in coupling Merlina with Rochelle is sort of telling me that maybe Cancer as a whole is really doing that collective thing where y'all think about everybody, what everybody will think, what everybody will say, how everyone will consider it. And I think in some respects, Spirit is saying, no, Cancers, what do you want for yourself? And even if that, what you want for yourself is about a collective, let's say it's about your family, it's about all the different people and the dynamics within the family. Rather than focusing in on whatever the challenges are, whatever arguments may be going on, whatever disagreements or power struggles, I think it's about focusing in on God will take care of balancing those things out. Because I've got Teresa here, and she's really a card that says it's time to stop worrying. It's time to stop focusing in on the challenge and start focusing in on the solution. And not how the solution shows up, but how you want to be part of that solution. Because especially, I don't know why, for some reason, I'm really wanting to go to the family dynamic right now, as if there may be challenges and certain dynamics within cancers and their families. And, they don't have to be dramatic challenges. It could be something as simple as, oh, I don't know. I can't think of an example right now. I just don't think it has to be something huge. I think it could be something that might even feel slightly trivial. And yet at the same time, it's causing concern. It's causing stress. And so go to the solution, concentrate on that, and thank God and the angels for that and how that feels. And start to see how that works for you. Because I think they'll start to give you signs and omens that things are falling into place. All right, let's go on to our Leos. What do the angels have to say for you this week? All right, our first card is Archangel Michael. The second is the angel Patience. The third is Yvonne. And the final card is Merlina. All right, so for my Leos, Archangel Michael always asks me to have the courage to step into life changes in such a way that is purposeful, in a way that says, I want to experience this. Let's just say you want to experience travel. Let's say you have always wanted to go to Greece. And every time you think about it, you sort of go, well, no, I got to do this, got to do that, da, 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 da. I think that Archangel Michael is asking Leos to really step into their playful energy. There seems to be the last few weeks this weird dragging energy with Leos. I feel like I've been really encouraging you to play, and it seems strange to me because you're natural players. I mean that in the most positive way. Patience is talking in your opportunity or obstacle about you're going through a period of time when you're getting to sort of synthesize all of the dynamics and the experiences that you've been having, and then to learn from them. Not necessarily, patience is not really ever talking about sitting on a situation and waiting for something to happen. It's about synthesizing it. It's about taking the dynamics and learning how to use them to your advantage. And I mean that in a mindful way, in a way that says, you know what, let's just put it this way. Let's say that there's somebody that triggers you. Whenever you're around them, they just grate on your nerves, and you don't get to stand in the kind of person you want to be because they just bug you. To me, this is sort of learning how to work with that energy, learning how that person's always going to bug you. That's just how they show up. So what can you do for yourself to skirt around it? How can you be in that and out of it at the same time? Because I have Yvonne in the Angel's Advice, and she's a card of vulnerability. And I think that as you are, I guess what I'm trying to say is as you're standing in a situation with somebody who maybe, or a situation that may be important to you, and rather than trying to figure out how, I'm getting a little bunched up here because it's almost as if I feel like Leo is trying to exact a change that they can't exact because it has to do with the other situation, the other person, the other dynamic. And it's really time to pull back. Time to say, okay, I really can't do anything about this right now, so I'm just going to concentrate on how I show up and be my playful, fun self, and kind of let God take care of this until I see some sort of open highway, an open place to move, because I've got Merlina again in the final position. This may be a week of collective confusion for most of the signs, at least these first few, where the answers aren't there yet. The manifestation isn't there yet. Movement isn't happening. It's all about kind of sitting back and letting forces outside of yourself take care of things that you cannot see, and then being ready and prepared when the moment presents itself to move forward. All right, that's what I have for Leo. Let's go on to our Virgos. All right, Virgo. Oh, there is such a running theme this week. Unbelievable. Okay, So I have Teresa in the foundational position. She's saying, time out, you've been worrying, you've been working hard, considering everybody else, considering, looking at too many dynamics, trying to figure out. It feels so stressful for me, Virgo. So I want to say this. Give yourself a break this week. I've got Yvonne in the opportunity, the obstacle. That's being vulnerable to a bigger picture. Literally, I feel like these first few signs, Spirit is saying, you know what? You don't get any answers. You don't get any answers. You don't get any manifestation. All you get is the inner knowing. All you get right now is that interior pull to stay the course. I've got Akasha in the Angel's Advice, which is the spiritual teacher card, and I think that you're learning a lot about yourselves, about your energetic dynamic, about it's funny, I've got Athena in the final position, and she's talking about lovingly asserting yourself. But lovingly asserting yourself is not always about taking physical action and moving forward. Lovingly asserting yourself can many times be having a different idea about something, a different notion, sort of saying, I kind of always think this way, and I always want to know, well, if I'm going to get here, I want to know, how many stops am I going to have to make? And maybe this time for you Virgos, it's about, what, I don't care how many stops I have to make. I just know I'm going to get there. And so you're lovingly asserting yourself not in a physical movement, but in more of a mental movement, more of a faithful heart chakra movement. That's saying my heart says I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to get the dynamics I want. And this time I'm going to let my head work with me. And I'm going to just relax right now and sort of turn it over to Spirit. And again, I want to emphasize thanking Spirit for the experience you want is the ticket. When we plead with them, please, 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 help me, help me, help me, it's a resistant energy, and Spirit is very neutral. When we beg, they give us begging. And when we stand in faith, they give us actions or they give us experiences that support that faith. So I think this week it's about taking the worry out of it. It's about knowing there's a bigger picture going on and being brave enough to assert yourself in that faithful position from your heart, even though nothing may be happening outside. All right, let's go on to Libra. I feel a sense of urgency because the construction guys are at lunch. I want to get done before they start banging again. All right, my Libras. Let's see what Spirit has to say for us this week. All righty. First card is Adriana. The second is Omega. The third is Sonia. And the final position is Azure. Well, this is a nice change of events for Libra. So Adriana says that I'm leading you to the answers to your prayers through your thoughts, your dreams, your desires. I want to say this, leading you to your dreams is pretty much kind of funny because whenever we attain one dream, there's always another big dream behind it. But I think Adriana is saying enjoy the journey. I think as a whole, Libras may be seeing a little bit more evidence that the things that they're wanting, the relationships, the career dynamics, whatever it is that you want, Spirit, these things are coming to fruition, and it's sort of fun to enjoy the journey a little bit, because once we get something, often as humans we're like, all right, did that, on to the next thing. So I think Adriana is really saying we are being led, and enjoy the journey, because I've got Omega here, the card of victory in your opportunity, your obstacle, and I have Sonia, which represents a deceased loved one and or God and the angels, your guides, Spirit in general, especially when we talk about a collective. So Adriana and Sonia are backing up that Libra, Jesus, take the wheel, because it is all good, everything you're looking for, everything. I say that sort of cheeky, because as you enjoy one thing that you want, it will lead to another thing that you want. So it's sort of a staircase, because Azure's here saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith, and don't try to force it. I think that's where Adriana is encouraging us to say, wow, some of these things are falling into place. Some of these things that I want, these desires, they're happening. And I'm excited, and I'm going to stand in open reception of them, meaning, I know I don't really have to do anything anymore. I just have to be excited. It's almost like, I guess, Libra, what I want to say, I think you're supposed to take on a feeling like it's almost Christmas, and Santa's going to deliver your presents. And all you have to do is just sort of wait in happy expectation for them. That sounds fun to me. All right, let's go on to our Scorpios. All right, Scorpio, what's coming up for you this week? First angel is Opal. The second is Isabella. The third is Adriana. And the final card is Celeste. It's interesting to me because as I was shuffling the cards, I actually got a feeling of frustration for you guys, as if you've been frustrated with dynamics and things moving, so far. But I want to say this. Opal will talk about your children being on heaven and earth, being safe, but I think that's your dreams. I think that Scorpio, sometimes we think we want something. We think, we'll meet a person and we'll think that they're terrific. And then the signs will start coming that they're not so terrific, or at least not for us. The way they show up is maybe not just in alignment with how we want to be in a situation. And when I say relationship, I'm not always talking about a business, personal relationship. It could be a business relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be all different dynamics of a relationship. And what I think that Spirit is saying for you is to sort of examine the dynamics you're in right now, because if for some reason something is not working out, there's divine wisdom here. There's a divine guidance that is keeping you from making a move that is not going to serve your ultimate happiness. I have Isabella in the opportunity obstacle, and she's saying, yes, the timing is right for this happy venture. And then I have Adriana saying that they're leading you towards the answers to your dreams. And I really think that I'm getting this very strong feeling that you may not be getting what you want, Scorpio, because there is something bigger that you can't see on the horizon. And as you shift your way of thinking, because I have Celeste here saying a happy move to a new home or a new place of employment is in the works, but to me, rarely is that brick and mortar. It's how I'm thinking, especially when I'm talking about a collective like this. It's really about how I'm perceiving things. So as you allow Opal to give you that childlike innocence to say, you know what? Instead of just looking at this situation sort of flat, I'm going to step and look at it from all the different angles. And what if there's something about this situation, these people, this dynamic that really isn't serving my long-term happiness? So rather than jumping in and finding myself happy for a little while and then going through a dynamic where I'm going to have to unravel all this fake happiness, Spirit is saying, trust the bigger picture. Trust that this discomfort is actually protecting you from making a mistake that you would have to clean up later. All right, guys, let's go on to Sagittarius. Oop. All right, Sagittarius. First card is Grace and Antoinette. The second card is Azure. The third card is Caressa. And the final card is Vanessa. Grace and Antoinette very much speaks about having compassion for another and for trying to look at things from the other side of the room, meaning not your point of view, but the point of view of others. Azure is in the opportunity, the obstacle, saying that you're the desired outcome you want will happen in the near future. Don't try to force it to happen. Caressa is in the angel's advice, which is talking about the end of a chapter and opening to a new chapter and where new happiness awaits you. And then I have in the final position Vanessa, which is an angel that's asking you to make your decisions based on faith, not fear. It's interesting to me because this feels very much like it's in your personal lives, Sagittarius, as if Spirit is saying to you, really to look at the dynamic, try to step out of yourself and see whatever the position, the viewpoint, the perspective of the other person is, or the other dynamic is, because I think it's in that. And you don't have to say, necessarily acquiesce your own opinion or your own dynamic. I think it's about having an empathy. It's almost as if saying, while I may not agree with you, I hear you. I think that's what it's saying. Because as you do that, or as you purport that energy, I believe that it creates a bridge in some ways to whatever this dynamic is that you're being asked to have compassion for and perspective on. And as you do that, I think it will actually open doors to you. And I don't mean literal doors, but I mean doors that are metaphoric in a way that it will take you into the next chapter of your life operating from a different place. I don't know if you guys remember, there was this guy Leonard a few months ago who cut me off while I was walking with the dog, and I got cranky at him and I yelled at him and I basically said, "You didn't look left." I didn't cuss at him, which was the good thing. And he responded in such an amazing way. He ended up apologizing to me, and just took me down, took me off the ledge of being pissy. And I kind of think that's what Spirit is asking you to do, is rather than, if somebody shows up and they're all cranky and bitchy at you, you don't have to mirror that behavior. You can choose something else. And maybe in that, you actually affect a change that has long-term ripple effect. I know I've been that conversation with that guy Leonard only happened one time. I don't know that guy from Adam. And yet months later, how he showed up had a profound effect on me. And it has affected me to want to purport how he showed up with others. All right, let's go on to Capricorn. All right, Capricorn. Whoop. All right, we have Rosetta, Aurora, Bridget, and Ray. Capricorn, it's funny because as I check into your energy, I feel like last week Spirit was asking you to be more playful. You're the goat. You guys are really good at climbing mountains, and yet maybe we should just play on the hills for a little while. Rosetta is really saying, again, I feel like this is adopting a more playful energy. I've got Aurora saying you're flying high, and then I've got Bridget saying to look deeper into the situation. It's very interesting to me. And then I have Ray. Ray is a card of, talks about yoga on the face of the card, but she's really a card of meditation, connecting to Spirit. Again, it feels like there's a lack of forward motion, and because of that, we can choose two paths. We can choose the path of just playtime, knowing things are going to work out, relax, not get too bunched up, or we can start to push forward and try to muscle our way through. I don't think that's the way to go, Capricorn. I think it's about just sort of sitting back and knowing that you've done the best you can do, playtime a little bit, and then turning it over to Spirit in the sense of really connecting your power center to your third eye and then up to God and the angels. I also think that there's a dynamic too where exercise might be good for you this week. If you're feeling extra stressed and you're feeling frustrated with that, then allow yourself to do something that you think is fun. And I want to say this too. When I say exercise, some people might just think, that's going to a yoga class or going to spin. But, I love the batting cages. If you're frustrated, to be able to hit something and to be able to hit it hard feels good. So if Capricorn, you find yourself frustrated this week in any way, give yourself permission to go to, a boxing class or somewhere where you can just kind of knock it out. All right, let's go on to Aquarius. All right, my Aquarians. Let's see what's going on with you. First card is Mystique. Second card is Ariel. The third card is Azure. And the final card is Akasha. This is awesome. So Mystique talks about charging ahead and expect miraculous solutions. I always kind of think of it as Gloria Estefan's coming out of the dark and into the light. She's a, Mystique is a unicorn, and she is literally charging out of the dark and into the light. In the opportunity, the obstacle, I have Ariel that's saying that new spiritual experiences are changing the way that you view yourself and the world. I have Azure and the angel's advice saying that your outcome will happen, not to force it. And then I have Akasha, the spiritual teacher card. For you guys, Aquarians, if you find that you've been, again, you know, that coming out of the dark and into the light is a challenge of some kind. Something has been, you know, making you feel like you've been walking through mud. And I think that as you, you know, purport that, you know, there's a bigger wisdom to this. There is a bigger story to be told than what this experience or this dynamic is showing you right now. Because I think what I'm seeing here for you, Aquarius, is really you're being able to learn from this dynamic about struggle and how struggle sometimes is something that's self-imposed. It's something that we have obligations we've taken on. Maybe we think we're the only one who can do it. You know, so there are those people that, you know, in every circle, family circles, friends circles, there's always the one person who seems to not do anything, get everything, and there's the one person that always seems to always work really hard, and you know, you can count on them because they're dependable. I think what I'm looking at here is you sort of throwing all those labels and all those dynamics up in the air and then saying, I'm just going to do something a little bit different this time. And when I do something a little different, that could be thinking different. I don't have to do that. There is no shoulds left. It's only wants and get tos. And I hope that's clear, because when I say, oh, I should do this, I feel like I'm walking in mud. If I say I have to do that, I need to do that, it doesn't feel fun. It feels like an obligation of some kind. I think Spirit is asking you to create opportunities for yourself so you get to do things. And when you're contemplating moving forward, I think it's time for you to give yourself permission to move out of that dark, obligatory, and into the light of what you want. And then I think you're going to learn something about yourself, because there's the potential that maybe if you don't get out your pooper scooper and clean everything up behind everybody else, that you'll see that other people can actually pick up at least part of what's going on and take care of it themselves. All right, let's go on to Pisces, guys, our final sign. And as I always say, my little lucky is Pisces. I found out this week he's a double Pisces. Pisces moon and a Pisces sun. All right, Pisces. What's up for you this week? Ooh. All right, I have Vanessa, Francesca, Indriel, and Layla. Vanessa is always a card, an angel. She's a very strong woman on female energy on the face of the card. She has these big white wings, and she sort of has this Xena warrior princess feel about her. And she's asking you to make your decisions based on faith, not fear. Fear will show up in practicality. It'll be running scenarios. Well, if I do this, this can happen. If I don't do that, that's going to happen. La, 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 la. I think she's saying, no, let's just go to the best possible solution and focus in on that. Because I have Francesca saying, what you visualize right now is going to come about. And if you're visualizing the challenge, if you're visualizing the problem, if you're visualizing the rocky, broken glass road ahead, it's going to show up for you. So let's instead see metaphorically the road clearing, the road opening up, the road being a little bit easier. Because I have Indriel in the Angel's Advice, and that's really the light worker card. And to me, this is not so much about trying to affect changes on others, but as you adopt Vanessa's faithful energy, you shine a light. My hair's doing something funky right here. Okay. You shine a light on the situation that wasn't there before. And it also gives spirit. I have Layla in the last position. She's my mobile meditation. She's the one that says, as I go out into nature and I talk to God about what my intentions are, what I want to experience, and then I use my eyes to see God and the angels give me signs and omens through the elements of nature. Wind, birds, butterflies, hummingbirds, hawks, whatever, mice, whatever your eye focuses in on, there is the potential of a message that will give you confirmation or some sort of sign as to which way to move. It's interesting to me because it feels very much like this week is a little choppy in that, I don't know if I didn't say this to everybody else, but Mars is about to go into retrograde for a few months. Saturn is currently in retrograde. So a lot of us are not being able to move forward as quickly, to get things done as quickly as we want to. And in that, I think sometimes it can create fear. It's sort of like if we don't see evidence, then nothing's happening and we go into this high alert mode. Oftentimes, Spirit shows me that when I can't see anything happening, something better is happening that I couldn't have even imagined. So as you try your best to adopt Vanessa's energy of standing in faith and faithfully moving towards the things you want, give yourself the permission to go out for a hike or to go down to the beach or even just go to the local park and sit on the swings and just let the wind blow in your hair and thank God and the angels for giving you those signs that your faith is warranted and in the right place. All right, guys, that's me, Teri Hunter. This is your angel guidance readings for this week of May 31st, 2018. If you'd like to book a private session with me, please feel free to go to my website at www.terihunter.com. Again, that's TERIHUNTER.com. Or you can call and text me. The numbers in the information below. And I'll see you on Monday with our Brave Heart meditation. Have a great weekend, everybody.